order the January 16th meeting of the Wheaton Park Board of Commissioners. Mike, please take the roll.
Commissioner Vanderschaft.
Here.
Commissioner Morrow.
Here.
Commissioner Mee.
Here.
Commissioner Fiewiger.
Here.
Commissioner Lutkehans.
Here.
President Kelly.
Here.
Mr. Schobel sends his regrets. He is having car trouble in the city and will not be here unless some miracle occurs mechanic-wise.
Okay. Mike, we have a presentation tonight.
Yes, we have from the Citizens Advocacy Center, Terry Pastica. If you recall, I briefed the board on a self-audit for good government, transparency, and access that we completed, and Terry is here as a follow-up at Act 2 to talk about her analysis of the self-audit we did and to provide us with some insights into how we're doing from an access and transparency standpoint. Terry?
Hi, my name's Terry. I'm from Citizen Advocacy Center. Mike, thank you for inviting me here. It's nice to be able to come and have a good conversation with you about what we can do to increase some information flowing to the public about some of your work. So Mike and I met back in the summer to generally go over what Citizen Advocacy Center thought were important components for a government body to think about with respect to how you're conveying information to the public and what information to convey. And Mike sent me the results of this staff's analysis of what they're doing. And I'm here just to give some input and thoughts about other places to supplement what was provided and give commentary. So first thing is kudos to the staff for listing the compensation salaries and accounts payable. That's fantastic. That's a really, really good start. One resource that I wanted to provide to you is there's an organization called the Illinois Policy Institute, and they're located in Chicago, and about a year and a half ago they did a survey of government websites, and they have a 10-point checklist for information that they think is very valuable for all public bodies to have. And I would encourage you to check their website out, because not only do they have their checklist, but they have model websites that they think are very valuable. And so as you're thinking about how to develop this resource, instead of recreating the wheel, this is a great tool out there. And as I went through your checklist, you're doing pretty well on it. They suggest having elected and administrative officials posted, meeting information, public records, budgets, financial audits, expenditures, salary and benefit packages, contracts, lobbying information, taxes, and fees. And so after reviewing your preliminary web portal, you're doing a pretty good job. You're halfway there, and I would encourage you to keep going along in that vein. A couple of items that I thought the board should think about, and Mike told me that some of you had had this preliminary conversations about board packets. I think you obviously deal with a lot of issues. Your board packets are pretty meaty from what was emailed to me, and a lot of public bodies already post board packets when they post public notice of the meetings. I know some boards feel a little bit iffy about doing that because they're preliminary draft documents, and there's the concern that once it's out in the public, what's going to happen if you decide to make changes to an ordinance or a resolution or a budget item that's already been released. But as you know, that's preliminary draft information. You certainly can withhold it, but by posting it, you certainly don't give away any of your power to change any of the information that's posted. So I'd ask you to think about that. The second thing that Mike and I talked about over the summer was a creation of something that we call a FOIA reading room, a Freedom of Information Act reading room. And essentially it's our perspective that as you're generating more records electronically, it just makes sense, and frankly it's easier for staff. As people make FOIA requests, just post that information that's requested up on your website and slowly build the web content on your websites as people are requesting the information, or alternatively as you're generating it. And frankly, instead of kind of thinking we have to post everything on the website, it's a way to ease in implementation of as you create the information or as you are responding to the FOIA requests, routinely organize your website so you can just post the information up. Another area that I thought would be worth it to consider is tax increment financing information. I know park districts are far less impacted from TIFs as opposed to school districts, but considering that, I think Wheaton has 3 TIF districts, that it is a resource impact on the park district, and frankly, it's a way for the public to become more educated about how TIFs impact taxing bodies. At the park district level, I think it's easier because it's not as much of a budget impact as a school district, so, and TIFs are one of my things, so I'm a little biased in asking you to think about that. In your audit here, it says email retention and it says no, so does that mean you do not have an email retention policy?
Correct, there's no policy, nor do we have a formal archiving system.
Okay, so that's something I absolutely encourage you to think about is an email, because as you, that is absolutely something you need to think about doing, and there's some good policies out there, is creating an email retention policy. And then a review of closed minutes for possible release. So the statute says that every 6 months you should be reviewing your closed session minutes. So that's something that a lot of public bodies kind of becomes a back burner issue. And then the other item for the website that I didn't see is a listing of who the ethics officer is, or the alternative, if you have an ethics commission, which I assume you don't have an ethics commission, but one of you is the ethics officer.
How our policy reads is that the ethics committee would be formed, I believe, by the president's appointment as situations arise.
Okay, so I would just have that someplace on your website, maybe as an FAQ or something like that. And that's it for now. So if you have anything that you want to talk about, or you want to have a feedback, I'd be happy to do that. I know Mike had brought up the concern about board packets.
Terry, first of all, thanks for coming. I know this has been a long process, and we appreciate your help. I think we as a board, and let me just back up for a second. As far as the email retention, that was brought to our attention, the board's attention last month, and it's my understanding, or it should be, that an email has gone to everyone telling them that no emails are to be destroyed in the meantime while we come up with an email retention policy. So that was the direction to the staff for the short term, just for the record, anybody's checking.
Oh, we did happen immediately.
Okay. I think all of Terry's suggestions are good ones. I think we need to create policies as to how we're going to proceed, and I would ask that the policy committee meet to discuss these. I personally think that board meeting packets should go up ahead of the board meeting. I don't know that, we've kind of had a discussion about when they should go up. Personally, I'm thinking like Tuesday morning they should go up so people have time, but that's a policy committee decision. Bring a recommendation to the board. We get our packets Friday or Saturday, but sometimes there are things that are pulled immediately once the chairman or the president sees them because they're not correct. I love the idea of a FOIA reading room. In fact, I think given with technology, I think you may be able to avoid some copying costs. You may be able to tell people, hey, we'll put these up on the website, and if you want us a copy, we'll give it to you, or however, but here it's available to you and you can get it immediately. I think that'll solve some problems, just kind of like what we do is, the Dropbox system. Put it up on the web, let somebody grab it. And I think and the other thing we do, it's something we're very bad at, is the executive session minutes. We've been bad since I've been on this board. I think if there should be an agenda item, if Don or whoever could put that on, January and July every year, say, we're gonna do this, put it as an action item and make staff go get ready whatever they have. But that's something that could be a problem for us down the line if we don't get done correctly and properly. It doesn't have to be every 6 months, but it does have to be twice a year, and it's something that you really have to. I've seen some judges say, it's no longer privileged if you don't do it. I don't agree with that opinion, but I have seen it. So you have to be real careful here, that's something we need to jump on. But Terry, I do appreciate your time. Your group is one that I've worked with and against, as you and I both know over the years. But one I respect, and I'm glad you came and took the time and helped us, and I really, really appreciate it as always.
You're very welcome. Can I make two quick comments in response to what you said?
Absolutely.
Okay, so with response to the FOIA reading room, the other way that it might be advantageous for staff is that although in the FOIA statute, once someone makes a request, you're under the obligation to respond by the timelines, the statute also gives flexibility for staff to contact the requester and say, the information's on the website, would that satisfy, if we direct you to that area, will that satisfy your request? And that's a way for you to increase your efficiency. The statute basically allows you that flexibility. So while certainly the requester has the right to say, nope, I want you to respond, I want you to respond in your, the timeline, and we want to do it, per the parameters of the statute, that's absolutely what they're entitled to, but the statute also provides flexibility for you to contact the person and say, got your FOIA request, it's up on the website, I'll send you the link, would that satisfy your FOIA request? And I would recommend that you get some kind of email or written documentation back from that individual that says, thank you so much, I got the information and my FOIA request is fulfilled. And then the other thing with the email retention policy, I assume that this is already the practice, but under no condition should you be mixing personal and public emails. So I don't know if you have an official park district email as board members, but if you don't, you should have a completely separate account
We
from your
specifically
personal.
do not for that exact reason.
For what?
We do not have a
None of the board members have a park district email. We have a commissioner's email that gets sent to the commissioners, and Mike distributes it,
Okay,
but we can't respond on it.
okay,
So
that's
we've
good.
taken away that risk away.
That's
of
good.
using. So we all use our own private emails for everything.
But you don't respond from your Gmail account to Joe Citizen about a park district issue?
Oh, yeah.
But you also use, so if you do that, you should not use that same Gmail account to organize your family dinner. You should keep those two things completely separate. Or we would suggest that you keep those two things completely separate, just for ease of communication. I know we all have lots of email accounts, but they'll make your life easier.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Terry.
Thank you.
As far as I'm concerned. Anybody else?
Anybody else?
Terry, I want to thank you, and you said that we're doing pretty good. So, we have gotten out ahead of some of these things, as Mike and Phil has said. So if we shore these up, are you fairly satisfied that we've done what we can do?
We will post on our website, kudos,
Very good.
Wheaton Park District.
And I want you to say we're pretty good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Community input, did anybody sign up for community input, Mike?
No, sir.
Okay. We're gonna move to the consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
Under discussion, Commissioner Vanderschaft brought one correction to my attention.
Which set of minutes?
Pardon me?
Which set of
The
minutes?
November 14th, it's very easy, item number 2. Instead of a voice vote, it was a roll call vote, and I've made that change on the signature version. Thank you for pointing that out, Kim.
Anybody else? Okay, Mike, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Vanderschaft,
Yes.
Commissioner Morrow,
Yes.
Commissioner Mead,
Yes.
Commissioner Fiewiger, Commissioner Lukihan,
Yes.
President Kelly.
Yes. Unfinished business, project update and possible action on change orders 2 and 3 for the Central Athletic Center rehabilitation project. You should have received a memo in your board packet with a copy of change orders 2 and 3. You'll notice those change orders were already signed by me. There was backup from our consultants stating that the prices were checked by them and that they were found to be fair and reasonable. and that they recommended approval. There was also explanations of some of the changes that are there. So what we're looking for tonight is I think the board should just ratify change orders 2 and 3.
Move to approve the change orders 2 and 3 Central Athletic Center Rehabilitation Project as recommended and approved by the Buildings and Grounds Subcommittee.
Second.
Any discussion? Phil?
One thing I would note is this is kind of belts and suspenders. We've given the Buildings and Ground Committee the ability to approve these anyway, but I just thought it was appropriate to ratify as a full board just to make sure.
I agree.
No questions.
I'm gonna roll call.
Yeah, we're spending.
Commissioner Vandershaft,
Yes.
Commissioner Morrow,
Yes.
Commissioner Mead,
Yes.
Commissioner Fiewiger,
Yes.
Commissioner Lukey-Hans,
Yes.
President Kelly.
Yes. Okay, new business. Number 1, approval of a professional services agreement with Government Navigation Group Incorporated.
Move to ratify, confirm, and approve the terms and provisions of the Government Relations Service Agreement between the Wheaton Park District and Government Navigation Group, Inc., as presented to the Park Board, and to authorize the Executive Director of the Park District to execute the agreement in the name and on behalf of the Park District, and to deliver a copy thereof.
Phil, second. Discussion. Kim?
So I read through here, and it's not clear to me exactly what they're doing for us. The things that they listed seemed as if they were items that staff had been working on and not this consulting group. We haven't had any reports throughout the year that lay out what the benefit of this relationship has been. So do we have any information on the value of this to our organization?
Phil?
Yeah. I once heard someone say that two things you never want to see made are legislation and spray paint and sausage. And it gets even worse when you're dealing with grants. We can apply for all the grants we want, especially when you talk about member initiative type grants. Unless we have someone selling these to the members, meaning the representatives and the senators who support that particular member initiative, it's going to just fall by the wayside. We've been very successful, and in fact, at least one grant I know we got, we never even asked for, not in this year, but the year before. Representative Cross actually called our government navigators and said, I have $50,000 left over. Who do you want to give it? Who can I help give it to? It was us. So they do play a valuable role, and I think they've done a wonderful job for us. I think all the DCEO grants, if I'm not mistaken, are all member initiatives.
That's correct.
So what happens is one of our representatives who has a part of this area, or our senators like Carol Pankow at the time, would put this in the budget as her member initiative. Is it the greatest system? Hell no. But it's the system we live under, and we want to take place. This is what we have to, these types of people help us out.
Terry?
Yeah, question, John, and Phil, maybe you can help with this too. Mike, I believe we've had this same group for several years now. Would it behoove the board to take a look at some different groups in the upcoming year?
I don't know that that's a problem. I mean, I think anytime we can put out an RFP in the future, I think we should. I think this, however, we need to do now.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. I'm talking about for next year, perhaps we throw out RFP and see what we get back, just for comparison purposes.
If I might add, that certainly we can do that, the board directs it. There's a lot more to this process of partnership between the staff and the consultants than simply price. And I would be hesitant in the midst of a very successful run in our relationship, especially the one Rob and I had with their outfit, to interrupt that. If that's the board's will, certainly.
Well, I don't think it's an interruption, Mike. I think, and I would not make a decision based on cost alone, not for a professional services contract, anyway.
Just wanted to weigh in. We're very happy with our relationship. Thank you.
Good.
Kim?
Okay, so we're backdating this to December 1st, so it will expire at the end of November?
Correct.
Anybody else? May I call the roll, please?
Commissioner Lukey-Hans?
Yes.
Commissioner Fiewiger?
Yes.
Commissioner Mead?
Yes.
Commissioner Morrow?
Yes.
Commissioner Vandershaft?
Yes.
President Kelly?
Yes. New business, item 2, approval of expenses related to computer server co-location.
Move to table.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Item 3, schedule item, bond issuance workshop. There were some questions on bonds and our procedure for issuing genuine, 1 year genuine, 1 year original, what's the word? General obligation bonds. And I attended a practice workshop with our bond counsel and representative from Spears Financial last week, and we spent about an hour. And I wanted to learn everything I could about bonds, and I've done this once before with Mike and Rita, and sitting down with the two of them and the consultants, I thought was excellent. So I think it would be very helpful to the rest of the board, so you understand how our debt service extension base is capped at, and why we do what we do, and what bonds do we have out there, when are they gonna expire, when are we gonna have the opportunity to refinance our debt. I think it would be very helpful for the rest of the board to get the same lesson that I got. So I'm wondering, is this something we'd like to set up?
I would be interested.
Okay, I would like to do it as a separate meeting. I talked to them about the possibility of a weeknight or a Saturday morning up at Arrowhead. Does the board have a preference?
I don't,
I'm good either. How long do you think? Hour?
You know, by myself, it was a little over an hour, and I think if more people are asking questions, it might go a little longer than that, you know.
I'm good either.
I'm more partial to during the week.
I'm a weekend guy.
Okay, well, why don't I throw a couple dates out in an email after I talk to them, and whichever one the most people can attend. And if you're not interested, you can reply that you're not interested. That way I'll, who I need to make sure is there.
We could tape it and then give it to the tape to whoever can't make it.
Yeah,
As long as you speak in the mics.
okay. All right, then I'm gonna go ahead and get that scheduled, because I think that'll help us when we're in next year's budget process, if everybody's up to something. Item number 4, approval of program guide home delivery bids.
Move to approve the Wheat Park District Board of Commissioners accept the bid from Chicago Tribune for the delivery of the spring 2013, the camps and aquatics 2013, summer 2013, fall 2013, and winter 2013 program guides for the sum of $31,350.
second.
Discussion. Phil?
How are they delivering this, Mike? I don't understand.
They walk door to door, bag them, and door knock.
Okay, it's not like they're putting it with their papers.
No, we have, the specifications were specifically written to be hung.
And that's the same with what we've been getting lately.
With different firms, yes. With a different firm than this one. This would be a new company for us.
It's because the firm who did it in the past didn't do it this year, did they?
That's correct.
What did we pay last year?
$33,944.
We only had one bidder, it was the Tribune, that was it.
That's correct.
Why did our current or historical provider not bid on this?
Margie had spoken with the gentleman, and he didn't feel, he felt one or two of the specifications related to our follow-up was onerous, and he didn't want to put himself in a position to fail. We found it a little odd ourselves, since we had been relatively satisfied with their work.
What were those follow-ups?
I think the bid bond was a concern of his, so that, what was the other, I think maybe some of the insurance talk, we were requesting for insurance.
We set a timeline for redelivery in the event of complaints for whatever reason, when we went to a formal bid format as opposed to just seeking prices, it scared them off. We don't have a better explanation than that. And we're saving money over last year, so I think there's no harm. And we've gotten rave reviews on the Tribune's efforts from other companies.
Okay, anybody else? Anybody call the roll, please?
Commissioner Lukian,
Yes.
Commissioner Fiewiger,
Yes.
Commissioner Mead,
Yes.
Commissioner Morrow,
Yes.
Commissioner Vandershav,
Yes.
President Kelly.
Yes. Number 5, ordinance number 2013-01, disposal of equipment no longer useful to the district.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Phil?
I guess I'm a little, and maybe we've gone through this before and you've given me an answer before and I don't remember it, but we say the park district will dispose, sell, donate, or trade in. It's like, is there, and we say everything. I mean, in essence, it's everything. I guess I would feel more comfortable if I knew what we were selling, what we were trading in, and what we were throwing away.
If I may, I think this is a language issue with Tressler and how they created the ordinance, and I can bring that to their attention. I will tell you that the intention is to recycle, discard everything on this list. I had a conversation with President Kelly, and I know, Phil, last time we did this, you had brought this up as well. Is there any of this stuff worthy of being donated to a not-for-profit and so forth? Last time around, we did send our list to the People's Resource Center, as they have an active, they're countywide, and they have an active computer rehabilitation and redeployment program for those in financial need in the county, and they wrote back and said, no, this is, you're throwing away garbage for a good reason, because it's garbage. In this case, we have not done that yet. If it's the board's wish, we can send this list to some not-for-profits and see if they want to have it donated. President Kelly had the idea about possibly putting this out to see if our employees may want to have some of it. I'm going to have to yield to Phil, but I know there's some regulations regarding the disposal, Terry may know as well, disposal of equipment through, I think you have to do a sealed bid or something like that. And the only time I've ever done it in my career is when we're getting rid of a vehicle.
It is different with the vehicle. I mean, these are small. You can put them on eBay, you can do whatever you want with them, right? Clients, you put it on eBay.
There's no restrictions on it.
Yeah, but except that you're not gonna be able to sell them directly to your employees, that's not gonna fly. So, I mean, they can go through the same process anybody else can.
I don't have a problem if you're telling us that these are useless materials, but I do have a problem with the word sell, because now we're getting the impression that we're somehow selling these, and we're not.
Okay.
If you're saying this stuff's valuable, listen, we're making a decision, that's up to us, but I would ask to amend the ordinance to strike the word sell, because we're clearly not selling this stuff.
Yeah, and I agree with Phil, Mike, I don't see any reason why we can't tailor-make this particular ordinance for this particular group of items.
Take sell out of this.
Exactly.
I'm looking for it, Phil.
It's in the therefore section
Yeah.
2. There's no page number, so
It's right up front on the first page.
well, it's page 3 as well,
Okay.
where I saw it.
Got it, thank you. Was there a second on the amendment?
I think Terry seconded
I
it.
did. Can we not simply amend the motion to strike the word sell?
I think that's what we just did.
Okay.
Well, no, I wasn't a seconder. Who seconded it?
Ray and Steve at the same time.
Okay. So
You got Ray first.
so if Ray would accept the amendment.
I accept it.
So what about the question Mike asked about if we had it piled and we were ready to take it to the recycler and someone from the staff wanted to take one home, so can you do that or
I
not?
don't support that at all. That's, it's gonna cause a cherry pick, and at the same time, it looks unethical. So, if we're gonna dispose of it, let's dispose of it.
Yeah, the risk is that the
person who's coming up with this list says it's useless, and that's the guy that thinks about it.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Just the
You're right. I hadn't
appearance
thought
of
of that.
propriety. You know, it's our IT guy's the only guy that knows it's worthless, and he's the guy that picks it up,
All
you
right.
know.
I'd still like to see us at least send a list of some non-for-profits before we just throw it. I
agree.
mean, I looked at this list and there's a couple of things on there that would be fine in somebody's house, like, you know.
So-
There's a flat screen, you know, I don't know if it doesn't work or not, but, you know, flat screen monitor was on there and so. Yeah.
So I understand, John, then we're simply approving the ordinance, but Mike's gonna reach out to
Yes.
these not-for-profits, I got it. Thanks.
Mike Caldwell.
Commissioner Vandershaft,
Yes.
Commissioner Morrow,
Yes.
Commissioner Main,
Yes.
Commissioner Fiewiger, Commissioner Lukey-Hans,
Yes.
President Kelly.
Yes. Item number 6, Resolution 2013, a resolution authorizing the Northern Illinois Municipal Electric Cooperation to serve as a broker for the Wheaton Park District in regard to obtaining bids from electricity providers and authorizing the executive director to approve a contract with the lowest cost electricity provider.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Kim?
So is there an upcharge to this, or are we paying cost from this negotiation?
We're paying the amount that is bid by the winning
So this organization that's
organization.
working on our behalf, they're not passing along costs to us?
I pay no bill to the gentleman that runs NIMAC, I only pay bills to whoever gets the contract. So, I don't believe so. If he's being paid, it's not by us.
It's a consortium, so that's why it works the way it does. There should not be any upcharge in this.
Whether or not the suppliers are compensating the organization or not, I frankly, I don't know. I'd be happy to find out for you, but, you know, we're paying, after the bid is accepted, we sign a contract, we pay our bills, and there's no NIMAC invoice that comes to us.
Kim, is your question, can we bypass the broker and take the bids direct? Is that?
Well, not necessarily. There's got to be somehow they're earning money, but, you know, a lot of in the deregulation that's been occurring and how municipalities now can buy and citizens can step away from ComEd, there are a lot of charges being tacked onto what the citizens can do. And so I didn't know if that same type of upcharge or tax or any other type of incremental charge was being applied to these contracts that this organization was negotiating on our behalf.
Again, I don't know. I've had, as recently as 2 months ago, there are organizations out there that do audits of all of your utility bills and will say, give us all your utility bills for the year, we'll tell you if you're being inappropriately charged for anything, and we'll take a piece of the action. We just had it done within the last 60 days, and now granted, we may change utility provider this next time around, depending on who is the successful bidder, but they found nothing wrong with our electrical utility bills.
Anybody else? Mike Caldwell.
Commissioner Vandershaft,
Yes.
Commissioner Morrow,
Yes.
Commissioner Mean,
Yes.
Commissioner Fiewiger,
Yes.
Commissioner Lukey-Hans,
Yes.
President Kelly.
Yes. Item number 7, Resolution 2013-03, appointment of Scott Shorney to the DuPage County Historical Museum Foundation Board.
So moved.
Show me leaving the room, please.
So moved.
Any second?
Second.
Discussion. Ray?
I know Scott and have worked with him on the Center for History Board in past years, and we're lucky to get him to agree to volunteer to be on our DuPage County Historical Society Board. So I think he's a great selection from my perspective.
Terry?
Mike, how did he come to be slated for this?
Scott and I serve in the Lions Club together, and he and his wife had been coming to museum events, and as we developed a friendship over the last couple of years, we began to talk about when he was ready to take on another charitable role of leadership, to consider us, and he did, and we're very pleased about it.
So is the endorsement came from you initially or from the existing?
I recruited him, yes, sir. I did, and I did speak with, as I began that recruitment, I did speak with the president and vice president about the possibility of this appointment in advance.
Very good, thank you.
Is this a term or is this indefinite?
I believe it's a 4-year term.
When was the last appointment that we made to the board?
2 years ago?
It was several years ago.
Not since I've been on the board.
The actual foundation board, the body itself, by bylaws and by the IGA that I attached, that was entered into prior to your time on the board, Kim, does indicate that the body itself can make one appointment. And the last time we had put anybody on, again, checking with the president and vice president, the body itself appointed a woman named Laura Kolb, who was a recommendation appointment from Wintrust Financial, who's our banker.
So we are making this appointment as the alternative to the current board itself making their own appointment?
They get one appointment out of, however, they get only one, and we've made it. So now if that person were to leave, then, you know, we would have that vacancy to fill again, but obviously I wouldn't fill it without consulting at the very least the president or the vice president.
They make recommendations and seek out qualified candidates to be, this is a volunteer job, so it's not like people are beating down the door to.
Yeah, there's a lot of work attached to this, and there's also financial commitments that members make to the organization. So you need to love the foundation you're serving on in this regard and what it provides to do it, because it's not, you know, like it's not a job that pays. It's a job that creates a new bill for you as an individual. So when we can find people to do volunteer work and to write checks and to get their friends to write checks on behalf of our charitable organization for the DuPage County Historical Museum, it's a blessing. And we have to find the right people as well. You know, any board is there's a lot of cooperation and work and teamwork that goes into it, and finding the right person who can make money and find money and write checks, as well as be an effective team member, it's not easy. And we're happy when we can do it, and we're very confident in Scott.
Had anyone else expressed interest, or had you spoken to anyone else about this position?
No, we're always recruiting. We're always, you know, as part of our monthly housekeeping on our agenda, you know, recruitment of board members is an active item, and they understand the recommendation, or excuse me, the approval process through the park board, and then subsequently with the county board, as you'll read in the IGA. So we're out there beating the bushes throughout the county to find the right people for this job. We did just, the board president just had a conversation with a person who's expressing interest, and we very well will be bringing that person to you in February or March if, you know, the meeting goes well and they want to make the commitments to the foundation.
Okay, so, just so I understand, this request is coming to us from the museum board. This is their...
Yes. Oh, yeah, this is their wish.
When you're talking board president and board vice, you're talking
I'm
museum
talking about
board
the museum
president.
foundation board
Just
president.
making sure.
Well,
With you?
no, in the
It's not
other,
me.
I did, the previous cases I had spoken, where we had made an internal appointment, I did speak with Phil about it, and in this case, I did speak with John and Phil about it in advance. So that, those two times when I used president, it was John and Phil. The last time I used it was Tim Elliott, who's the chairman of the foundation board. Sorry for the confusion.
But basically, the museum board is out recruiting its own fundraisers, and when they find somebody they want to put on the board, they're bringing it back to us for approval. I personally don't know. Anybody else? Call roll, please.
Commissioner Vanderschaff,
Yes.
Commissioner Morrow,
Yes.
Commissioner Me,
Yes.
Commissioner Fiewiger,
Yes.
President Kelly.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hey, Andy, can you let Phil know what that?
Yeah, before we go to the next item, I want to talk about this. I do want to clarify a couple things. I was out of the room, but I was able to hear. Two things, or a few things, I guess. One is, this is not our only appointment. We have how many openings left?
I'd have to double check,
Oh,
it's
we have-
several.
We have several openings still left, so it's not like this is, we're getting Mr. Shoney and then we're done.
Okay.
Two is, the first appointments to this board were made by Mike, and the board said, no, that is not how this is gonna work. The board has to appoint, so that's, when I was president, that is what occurred, and we said, no, that can't happen again. Third, Mike has raised this name with me, but I wanna be very clear on the record. I took no position, and I am still taking no position on Mr. Shoney. And I think Mike would relay that I said, that's up to you and the rest of the board, I'm not getting involved in this point. So I just want that to be very clear for the record, and that's why I left the room. Okay, thanks.
Item number 8, approve to serve beer and wine at Memorial Park during certain 2013 special events. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, discussion. Kim?
So who does this now? Because there's alcohol served at these events. Who's,
We've done this in the past.
oh,
We approve.
We've approved serving alcohol when we're gonna have these events.
oh, okay. I don't recall voting on this before. Okay.
Part of the park ordinance.
I think we did it last year.
We did.
Fair.
Question for Dan or Christina, how did the Gospel Jazz Fest come to be? That's a new one.
Good evening, everyone. The Gospel Fest, Feeding the Soul Ministry, approached the district. They've been hosting this event in Wheaton for several years now, and we're looking to take it into the parks and make it a larger event and add the component.
Did they request the service of beer and wine or what?
It was in the initial, in their initial plans. There's several gospel jazz fests that take place throughout the United States, and most of them have an element of a wine tasting component.
And it's a 4 to 9 event?
It isn't, just an evening event.
Are we providing food?
We would have hopefully food vendors
Okay.
available.
So the food's coming from us or it's coming from independent vendors?
It would be a vendor booth that, hopefully 2 or 3 people would,
Something new, huh?
something new.
Okay.
Anybody else? Like call, that's voice vote, we can just do.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Christina and Dan.
Okay, reports from staff.
We have Adult Education Supervisor Jen Brueggemann with us this evening, and she has provided, as you know, all of our major program areas, business units, we do annual reports to give the board and the community a snapshot on what is occurring and what our plans are for the future. And Jen is with us today. I don't believe she has a formal presentation other than to be available to answer any questions the board may have regarding her 2012 Adult Ed report.
Kim?
Hi, so there have been some great changes that I read in here, and I especially like how you're looking to optimize the schedules so that we can have site supervisors in fewer locations. I like how we're working with the other park districts, that we can have more classes and we're not canceling classes. And there was a comment in here about the Tai Chi instructor Yvonne, and I have to second that because I took Tai Chi from her for about 5 years. So this was a very good report, thank you.
Thank you, I'm sure she'll love to hear that.
Ray?
Yeah, I would like to echo that. I like the fact that we're working with other park districts and the College of DuPage in order to try and promote this program. You know, I think it is important that the board not lose sight of the fact that this is really one of the unique programs in the state where the park district and the school district are cooperating and working together with their adult ed program. This used to be a separate program. School district ran it, and the park district kind of wondered why they were doing it, and finally we worked it out and got together. You indicate towards the latter part, I think it's page 8, that you would like to recommend that the non-resident fees for adult education be eliminated in order to, I assume, to promote the programs and keep it at an even keel as far as fees and charges are concerned. I don't know if that's something we should to vote on tonight because it's not an agenda item, or if it's something we want to consider in the future, but I'd like to see it on the agenda for the next board meeting.
If I may, for clarification, that non-resident means non-District 200 resident, so it's a larger
Correct.
territory than just the park district.
I understand that. I understood that, but that's okay.
Yeah, I know you understand it. You used to run it.
Very, very good report, and thank you very much. It is a program that is struggles, and it's kind of like our adult leisure program for seniors. It struggles, but I think we're doing a great job. So thank you.
Anybody else? Terry?
Jen, it was easy reading, thanks. What I did note, among other things, is that our revenues are fairly stable and comparable from year to year, so, you know, it sounds like the program is sustaining itself. And it looks like the non-resident participation is increasing, so I'd echo Ray's sentiments. It'd probably be I would support, you know, having it as an agenda item to look at those fees.
Anybody else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Executive Director, Mike, anything?
Yes, as directed last month and referenced today during, we can. Yeah. Okay, well, I provided, just to finish up, I provided a report to the board regarding email archiving, and then had a subsequent conversation with the board president regarding looking at email archiving along with the server co-location as a joint project. So we will be doing that, and then also with the advent of the new office building, there's some wrinkles there that need to be ironed out. So thanks for the reminder, Mr. President, and that concludes my report.
Anybody have anything else? We can start down at Kim.
Actually, no, besides the adult education, thank you.
Ray, anything else?
Yeah, actually I do. This folk art exhibit at the museum really sounds exciting, and I guess I can't wait till you do it in April. Does sound like a great program. Want to thank all our volunteers in the Park District over the past years. We got a report for 2010 and 2012, and it looks like we have this past year 2,600 volunteers giving 87,000 hours of volunteer service, and we're estimating that value is worth $800,000 to the taxpayers because of their giving of their free time. And so I want to thank all our volunteers, and quite often we think about the youth sport programs who really do provide the majority of those volunteer hours, but there are a lot of other people who are doing some good things for the Wheaton Park District and our citizens, and so thank you very much. That's all I have.
Terry?
John, just for the staff, I want to quickly recognize some of the successful programs and events and projects that were highlighted, you know, in the staff reports. The Santa's Craft Corner and tree sales at Cosley, that was two successful ventures for us. Museum, that Polar Express still continues to be popular. From the rec, pool pass sales, by the way, those are seemingly up significantly this year, is that correct?
Facilities,
I'm sorry?
special facilities.
Oh, okay, I was gonna give you that, Mary Beth. Leadership, looks, from what I've read, 28% increase in family participation, so that's still a popular program. And finally, Sarah, sensory garden donations, that's significant. So, anything new that wasn't in the report?
We did get another Viking interest on, possible donation.
Okay,
So
nothing firm at this point, other than what I saw, okay. Very good, thank you.
Steve, no? No. Okay, the only thing I have, I was gonna provide the board with a quick update on the construction at Hubble Middle School. The air handlers that we were waiting for showed up on Monday. So the contractor has unloaded them, and as of Tuesday, had most of them set in place. So things are on track for our opening Friday night, February 1st, correct? And it actually looks good. What I'd like to do is, if the board is interested, we could schedule a tour of the Hubble Middle School so you could see what we spent our money on. I'm thinking maybe right before it opens, that week of the 25th or 27th, whatever. Now, what I'm wondering, Mike, since we're gonna do this bond workshop, what about doing the bond workshop just by bringing some table and chairs up to Hubble at Wednesday night? And, although, you know, with,
Is there light?
yeah.
There sure better be 2 days before it opens.
We could kill two birds with one stone.
We may even have heat soon.
You could have a tour of Hubble, and then we could put some tables and chairs in one of the gym, and we could do the bond workshop there.
Good by me, you talking about the 30th?
That might be a problem. We have to-
Well, you have to notice it up, so probably yes.
Yeah, so we'll look into seeing if that's possible. We might not be able to have the meeting there because we might not have the occupancy certificate on Wednesday, depending on how the inspections are all scheduled. But we could do the tour and then head somewhere to have the, but that way we wouldn't be dragging people out twice. So I think you need to see it. It's coming along pretty well. I don't have anything else, Mike. Okay, then, I'd like
Move to
to,
go into closed session for the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees in 5 ILCS 120/2(c)(1).
Mike, call the roll.
Commissioner Lukey-Hans?
Yes.
Commissioner Fiewiger?
Yes.
Commissioner Mead?
Yes.
Commissioner Morrow? Yes. Commissioner Vandershaft?
Yes.
President Kelly?
Yes.
Now we know why I show up.
And I'd like to, the board will be taking no action tonight on anything that's discussed in executive session. So, thank you.